Good afternoon, Daquan Lawrence here with Ms. Tatiana on behalf of the Center for African Studies, and we are here to speak to you about the United Nations International Day for People of African Descent. So, Ms. Tatiana, where are you originally from?
I'm from New York. I'm a freshman. I'm a journalism major at the School of Communication.
Okay, great Catholic DC School of Communication, that's a big one. We actually just interrupted a class that you were participating in. What class were you in?
I was in Zulu class, so currently we're learning about the family dynamics, specifically within South Africa, and how to specifically say each name and what it means in the family dynamic of the importance of children, not only being the ownership of the parent themselves, but of the family, and being part of the family name, how important that is.
Very important. Thank you for sharing that information. So being that we're here at Howard University, you actually just gave a great preview into some of the things that Howard does. What do you think about Howard providing education to members of the African diaspora?
I think it's quite amazing. I think for a very long time it was just about like common languages like Spanish and French, and I think being able to recognize that we're at a historically Black institution and being able to recognize not only as we stand in the future, but who came before us and where we're originally from, and recognizing our backgrounds and being proud of that and not being able to hide that.
Very well said. So being that with everything that you just said, the United Nations is actually now acknowledging some of the things that you mentioned, the contributions of people of African descent. With that said, one, what do you think about education as a human right? And two, what do you think about the United Nations now acknowledging the contributions of people of African descent?
I think education as a human right is very important, but I think they make it very hard and inaccessible here in America for people to receive a higher education. I think coming from New York, we're basis of going to public school and that being free, but then once we get to college, it's like a highly difficult process to receive assistance and to receive a good education that they even provide in certain universities like Howard. So I think it is a human right, but they make it seem as if it's only for certain people to have such a limited opportunities. And you have to know people to know a person, to know another person, to even get into the right spaces, to eventually end up in the right job. So it is a human right, but it feels inaccessible sometimes.
I think you just described the system and the process of education and why it's so important to people. So with that said, what do you think about, as we conclude, the United Nations acknowledging the contributions of people that attended Howard, or just contributions of people of African descent in general?
I think it's for the United Nations to finally recognize African descent and what they've contributed to our society. I think we come from a long history where, colonialism, where they don't acknowledge anything of Africa, or they associate it with being barbaric or uncivilized, and to finally realize that we come from a civilization, we come from a society, we come from a background that was already ahead of its time, that wasn't barbaric, it didn't need to be civilized, and a lot of the concepts and ideas and inventions that we have today is because of African society. So finally be able, for the United Nations to recognize that is very much appreciated, and it puts into a new age, a new construct that you come from, royalty, you come from a place of already high intelligence. Whether you receive that higher education, whether you're allowed to, or you are able to, you still come from a background that is full of high intelligence, is full of people who have made their mark.
Very well said, and I completely agree. And as you see, we have a future ambassador here, and Ms. Tatiana who just held it down. Thank you so much, and congratulations on all of your future success.
Thank you so much.
Wow.